So I wanted to kind of respond to a couple of commercials that I've been seeing on TV here lately. And I actually wanted my son to see them because I wanted to get his input about what he thinks about these commercials, and then talk a little bit about how fear is being used to make people vote a specific way. So I wanted to, and actually this topic was discussed in one of my college classes called Persuasion. We researched all the different ways that you could persuade people to buy products from you. And there were some that were looked upon as ethical and some that were looked upon as unethical. And the fear tactic of persuasion is one of the ways that were looked down upon as more unethical. Fear tactic of persuasion is where you evoke a feeling of fear. Like you see it a lot with the commercials with someone breaking into your house, like the ADT commercials. Are you afraid someone's going to break in your house? Well, buy our alarm today. So they make you afraid of something and then they sell you something. So that's what I see Donald Trump's campaign doing. They make you afraid of something and then they sell their campaign to you. So take a look at this commercial.
This is going to sound real
The 911 police emergency line. Due to defunding of the police department, we're sorry, but no one is here to take your call. If you're calling to report a rape, please press 1. To report a murder, press 2. To report a home invasion, press 3. For all other crimes, leave your name and number, and someone will get back to you. Our estimated wait time is currently 5 days. Goodbye.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Okay. Now they had another one of these commercials on, and it had an elderly white lady, and she was at her house, and there was a burglar outside her house, and she was sitting there on the couch, and he came in and he snatched her up by her throat, and she drops the phone, and it was just like, this is the Joe Biden's America because you can't get through to the police. And I was like, this is one of the most unethical persuasion tactics ever. But it has been used and it has been effective. Crime has always been there. It's not, first of all, Joe Biden is not in office. Donald Trump is in office. So when he was going to the protest and he's showing all these fires like we're in a third world country, he's showing the worst of a riot that was caused by the murder of an unarmed black man. Joe Biden could have done the same thing and showed, people storming the courthouse for, because they didn't want to wear masks. So I think that this was bothersome. And when Donald Trump contracted the coronavirus, Biden had pulled his ads down, his negative ads, which I never saw any negative ads that he had up.
Well, I'm pretty sure he just pulled down any ads that could push any negative things said about Trump.
So my question to you would be, what do you think about that? Do you feel that he should have pulled his ads? Because at this point, I almost believe that you have to fight fire with fire. I wouldn't have pulled my ads. I believe that because he never pulled his ads. He never pulled them.
And he wouldn't have pulled them if Joe Biden came down with coronavirus.
He would not have.
And I honestly think that he probably would have mocked him.
I believe so too.
About, that mask didn't protect you. Would have went on Twitter and said something,
rude,
unnecessary or rude, mocking him about his mask and how that didn't protect him from the virus. He got it. He's weak. Like, that's the kind of expectation that you kind of see when you're dealing with Donald Trump. Do I think he should have pulled his ads down? I don't really care because it doesn't make a difference. I genuinely don't believe it makes a difference whether he pulls them down. I know why he did it, because he's trying to take the high road. And I feel like, who were you trying to impress with that? Like, who were you trying to move with that? Were you trying to move a potential Trump voter with that? Because you didn't. And if you were trying to move a person who was already like, I'm going to vote Biden just because I feel like I don't really want to deal with Trump, that didn't make a difference. They're like, I'm going to vote for him really good now. Like, no. And then somebody who's on the fence, you pulling down their ads may make them look at you like, well, that was a nice thing. But it's not going to change their vote. So I think it was unnecessary, but I am happy that he did it because it was a respectable thing to do. It was an admirable thing to do, but it wasn't necessary because if he didn't take his ads down, it wouldn't have made a difference. It wouldn't have been like people were like, he's still running mean ads about Trump because his ads about Trump aren't
absolutely,
mean.
they would have said that. I guess I'm just at this space where it's like, why do we have to keep being nice to people who are not nice?
Yeah, because
like why do we?
Nice.
Why do we have to be nice to you?
Yeah, and your whole thing is that you don't have to be politically correct, which oftentimes ends up being I don't have to be nice to you. So if you don't have to be nice to me,
then why do you get to come
and criticize me because I made fun of you for saying something stupid? So if Donald Trump says I want to nuke a hurricane and I roast him for that, you're going to be like, oh, how mean are you? He's the president. Show some respect. Like, wait a minute.
Yes.
He makes fun of disabled people and calls women all types of dogs, but that's okay. Like, so it's
he literally said, I did not sexually assault this woman because she wasn't attractive enough. When do we fight back? Right?
We are fighting back.
What I mean by that is because you have. They call us softies and liberals, and you know what I mean. When do we get to be mean too? You know what I mean?
We don't.
We don't.
That's not who we are.
So when they say they go high. What did she say? Michelle Obama.
We go high.
We go high. See, I don't agree. You know what I mean? I believe if you call me a name, I'm gonna say yo mama. You know what I mean? Like
that's different because I don't think that's wrong because if somebody comes up and slaps me in the face, I'm not going to MLK or Jesus Christ it and turn the other cheek.
Right.
I'm hitting you back.
Right.
But the whole thing is that if I hit you back, it's because you hit me.
Correct.
I'm not going to preemptively start trying to hit you.
Of course. You know. And that is what I'm saying.
And that's
we don't get to go out and be mean to people
right.
Because that isn't who we are. I would never just go out and be mean to people. But I'm saying like when Biden pulled these ads and when Alec Baldwin apologized, why do we have to continuously, and I guess it's like because we're the bigger people, we're the better people, but they're bullies. Like we teach our kids all the time, like if you're going to school and you get picked on by this bully, eventually you have to stand up to them. You know what I mean? Eventually you have to push them back.
Well, they tell you to tell. They don't tell you to stand.
That's
actually the opposite of what they tell you to do.
After you tell so many times, do you just keep getting punched in the face and getting your lunch money taken?
According to what they taught us in school, yes, you tell the teacher, you tell the principal, you tell your parents, you keep telling, but then a lot of times they'll be like, don't be a tattletale.
Don't be a tattletale.
You know, but they tell you one of the worst things you can do is try to stand up to the bully because it never works out because you either end up getting beat up and put in trouble. And that's the reality of it. That's the reality because
somebody can all the way be bullying you and they know it because you've been reporting, you've been telling,
and then you finally snap, you finally punch him in the face.
Yes, and
then you get beat up because you punched him in the face.
Yes,
but you got beat up, but you got suspended because you started a fight.
Yeah,
and now you're in trouble from all the school. Your parents is mad at you. Why'd you hit them? Like
some parents, and that is the some parents in America.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
That's where America is right now. When do the kids, the people in America, get to stand up to a bully without being criticized? When do we get to say, because Alec Baldwin, first of all, it's comedy, and it was a joke, you know what I mean? And it was true. He's downplayed this virus, and now we don't get to say nothing about it. Now we got to be nice and just be quiet, and because that's the right thing to do.
Well, I think it's circumstantial because it's like when he contracted COVID, it's like, what are we gonna do when he contracts COVID? Are we bad people because we're not giving out our condolences? Nah. I don't feel like I'm a bad person because I'm like, get well soon. I don't care. I genuinely don't. Do I feel like I'm a bad person for that?
No.
It's debatable. If you want to call me a bad person because I don't care if somebody.
But what does that make them then?
Well, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about me.
Right.
You know, I'm
talking
not
about us.
We worried about how we
react.
Because if Joe Biden got COVID, we know how Trump supporters and Trump would have reacted. We know what they would have done. But what are we going to do? We had some Democrats and some people who are like, hey, I don't like this dude, but I don't want him to die. So hopefully you get better. And that's respectable. That's the admirable thing to do. Me, on the other hand, don't care. If you pull through, you pull through. Good for you. If you don't, you don't. You know, I don't care whether you pull through or not. But that's also kind of your fault. You've kind of distanced yourself from me, and that could be anybody. You could be a family member.
Correct.
And you could have been a bully.
Yeah.
You know, that's like if you bully me as a kid, and you was my stepbrother or something, and you older now, and you contracted the illness, and you terminal, and I'm like, and I didn't come visit you. Well, you're going to look at me as the bad person because I didn't come visit you. I can't believe you didn't go visit him.
When do we get to punch the bully? When and why are we bad because we punched the bully?
I think I looked at it like it's a little bit different because for me, when Obama got elected, that was a punch to the bully. When he got elected again, that was a gut punch.
Shot.
You know what I mean? We hit you in the chin and then we hit you in the stomach. You know, you got a two-piece with Obama. Because the fact that he existed, we know it irritated y'all so much because y'all was vocal about it. He wore a tan suit and y'all lost your mind. He went golfing and y'all lost your mind because he did a victory pose. He fist bumped with a kid and y'all called him a terrorist. So we know that his existence irked you, and I love that because that means that was us punching you back in the face the way that we want to. I want to punch you in the face like this because this is something you just
symbolic.
And it's forever.
Yeah.
Forever in the history books, you have to put this man's black face amongst all the other 45 white faces.
So you're saying one of the ways to punch back in the face is to go out and vote and get Biden in office.
And to do what we've been doing it and to not necessarily take the high road, but keep pushing to force these changes. Not necessarily progressive changes, but humanitarian changes.
Changes because he's already went in and he stacked the courts. He's stacking the Supreme Courts, and he said it out of his own mouth. This is something that is going to last a generation. Yeah. So he can get. He don't care.
And he's also talking about I'm not. He's not saying there's going to be a peaceful transition of power.
Correct.
We already know that.
Correct.
You know, so it's in our face.
So for him to even if he didn't get into office, the damage that he has done by stacking these judges in these offices in these courts is, like he said, it's for a generation. So that was a big old punch in the face.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a big old punch in the face. So all we can do is, like you said, is be more human.
Yeah, because he's already punched us back with those judges. We got to punch back in the way that we've been doing.
Like NBA, that was huge to me. When everything that you've seen, anytime you wanted to watch a basketball game, punch in the face.
Black Lives Matter, right?
Punch in the face.
Yep.
Every jersey that you watch, punch in the face. You know what I mean? We need to do that for gays. We need to do that for Mexicans. The only thing that we can do, since they keep hitting us
they're just hitting us with little obstacles. Now we got to be patient and wait. You know, like, of course, it is going to affect us for a long period of time with those judges.
It is.
But it's not an end-all. It's not an end-all, be-all. Yeah. You know, there's still a way to have policies and things changed and affect America through a bunch of different manners.
Because your dad said, everything don't go to the Supreme Court.
Everything don't go to the Supreme Court. They're not the end-all, be-all. You know.
And then each state, even if they overturn Roe versus Wade, and also affirmative action, it's up to the states.
It's up to the states to implement those policies.
Exactly.
You know that when we riot in the streets, that's not the punch in the face that works. It doesn't. It doesn't.
No, because they use it as fuel.
Exactly. So even if we peacefully protest, it's still the same thing. Nothing really gets done. Yes, it is a thing that you can do to make your voice heard, and that's good. Voting it also helps. Is definitely a big thing. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to punch in the face with our elections, with our local elections, with everything, every power that we've been given as citizens. We have to
spending.
We have to use
spending
with certain businesses. We have to do it.
Spending is huge because if you think about it, every time you ask somebody, why did you vote? Look at the economy. Look at the economy. It's all about money. You know what I mean? It all boils down to money. Money. So one of the
even
most
with
powerful
the riots, they're like businesses are being destroyed.
Yes.
Well, people
Black lives
are being killed,
destroyed.
You know?
Yes, exactly. So even white lives, even when a white guy gets
is
unarmed,
Kyle Rittenhouse shot 3 white people.
Well, I'm talking about when a white guy gets and he's unarmed and he gets shot by a cop.
Oh yeah,
that's wrong too.
Yeah, that guy who got killed for playing video games too loud.
Yes, that's wrong too.
We talked about him at one of our Black Lives Matter rallies. We were like, his memory has to live on. He may not have been a quote unquote Black Lives Matter, but that's not.
He's part of the Black Lives Matter movement
because you were unjustly and wrongly killed
exactly
by authority.
So just because you're white doesn't
have
mean
been able to have the authority to take your life for no reason.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
They're like, he had a gun. Well, he didn't know who was at the door. It's in the middle of the night. He had the gun down here. If he's like, where the cops? If he raises the gun up at you, then that's a different story. But on camera, we saw him get shot as soon as he opened the door.
It's his house.
It's his house.
It's his house.
Nah, but he opened the door.
And he has the right to bear arms,
He opened the door. They saw the gun, killed him.
In his house.
And it was a matter of seconds. Now, I get it that people can defend the police and stuff like that. I have videos on my channel talking about Blue Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, the monuments, all that. But the whole thing is that man, even the man who was killed in the hallway by that team that came in there, his hands was on his head. He tried to pull his pants up because they were falling down. He's sobbing, saying, "Please don't shoot me." And they still killed him. He's part of our movement now because this is a problem where like that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So it's all out there. It's all something that we have been trying to focus on. It's our punches. These are the things we're trying to punch back. Like we're making it. Like defund the police, it's a movement. It's something
defund the police, and that. Let's explain defund the police really quickly. We'll do a whole video. Defund the police.
No, we don't have to do a whole video. We can cover it.
Defund the police basically just boils down to reallocating where the money goes. Mm-hmm. They don't literally want to disband the police department,
right?
And I think that they choose words incorrectly. They need a marketing department. You know what I mean? Because it's just
these are regular people.
These are regular people, you know? And I think that when they say that, it spooks people. But it does not mean defund. Doesn't mean get rid of police.
Well, defund does mean to take money away from.
Yes.
But it doesn't necessarily mean reallocate those finances to a different department or to have more 911 operators or to perhaps have, like they said, those therapists.
The therapists who go with
cops to de-escalate situations. That's what defund the police means.
That's what
Just
it
like
means.
Black Lives Matter doesn't mean Black Lives Matter more than others.
Or only Black Lives Matter.
No, it's a thing that embodies a lot of ideals, and specifically this ideal is police accountability, people making sure that our authority, the people who protect us, they're held accountable when they do something wrong. That's what Black Lives Matter is about. You know, and it's specifically saying, hey, black people are the ones who are suffering the majority of times at this. That's why the Black Lives Matter thing became that. Defund the police was kind of a thing where it was like, hey, the police have so much money going towards these guns and these cruisers upgraded.
Military,
you know, they got military grade equipment basically. And it's like,
which happened under Clinton.
And yet they don't necessarily, like, they can't keep their body cams on. So they got all these military grade weapons and equipment and things like that. And so it's like, when we say defund that, it's like, do they need these 2018, 2019 cruisers? Do they reallocate some of that money to...
They have tanks. They have tanks in some...
Well, like, do they reallocate some of that money to police education?
To police,
to de-escalation training, and to therapists being hired on the force, and more 911 operators. That's what defund the police is supposed to mean.
Yes,
but it's just they chose the wrong.
But according to the unethical, fear tactic for persuasion, it means you won't get a police officer.
Oh yeah.
For 5 days.
I genuinely forgot that we watched that commercial.
If you want to report a rape, press 2.
Right.
That ain't what that means.
They took it.
That is the fear tactic. Yeah. Do not fall for the fear tactic. It is a tactic used to persuade you to buy something.
Right. One of the funniest things about that, a lot of people have pointed this out, is that all of the footage, 100% of the footage in that ad that we watched, comes from Trump's America. It comes from things that happened in April and May. And it's hilarious because it's like, you won't be safe in Joe Biden's America is how it ends, and it's got his face over fire, and you see how it superimposed his face over a fire as if he's supposed to be like the devil or something.
My God.
Like, they know what they're doing on his advertising campaign.
They
know
do
what they're doing because
colors.
You put the fire and his face is over top of it. You're trying to make him look like the devil. Like, oh, he's bad man. He's over fire, standing like this, looking at you, and it's like, okay, but all of that stuff happened while Trump was and is president. This is all under your watch.
Law and order.
So you can't say...
Law and order.
You can't be like, hey, be afraid for the Biden's America. This could happen in Biden's America. Matter of fact, it will happen in Biden's America if you elect him. But it's happening under your America. This is your America.
If we're going to use the fear tactic, let's use the fear tactic about the dudes who went and tried to kidnap the governor. Because Donald Trump said to... What did he say? Uprise.
Yeah, rise up
against your state because they're making you wear a mask.
Yeah.
Say cheese, you're in Costco not wearing your mask, refusing to wear your mask.
Yes, call the police. Are you stupid or something?
It was almost a militia. It was a bunch of armed men, and they stormed a Capitol building to where one of the representatives had to take shelter.
Over masks.
Over masks.
Not
now,
somebody getting killed in the middle of the street.
If you're not familiar with that, please look it up because this actually happened here in America.
Donald Trump tweeted
in response to that to rise up. You know,
good job.
There wasn't no condemning of this like he was calling the Black Lives Matter protesters rioters and dangerous and thugs and looters and criminals and whatever you want to call them. But it was that difference in response. So it was just interesting to point out how you can show footage of Trump's America and scare people into being like, oh my God, that's Biden's America.
But it's your America.
It's your America currently. It's so weird. Like, you can actually, and people will go for that.
They will.
You'll go. Yeah, you'll eat this up.
He will get some voters. He will get some extra voters because he used a fear tactic.
Yeah.
And I've seen
Even though this is your America right now.
But I've seen people say that they were afraid. They were afraid of the protesters. They don't care. They never care about what caused it.
Right.
They don't care about the inequality. They don't care about the murders. They don't care about that. They just, they don't care about why. They just want it to go away.
Right. We just wanted to talk about this ad really quick. This was something that she wanted to show. I had actually already seen the ad, though, unfortunately. So it wasn't something that I had to react to, like, oh my God.
And I wanted to really bring it up to you guys because it was so interesting. As I watch Persuasion now, since it was one of my college classes, as I watch commercials, I'm like, okay, what type of persuasion is this?
Yeah.
What type of persuasion is this?
Yeah.
What type of persuasion is this? And when I saw that commercial, I was like, this is unethical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is looked at as unethical because they used something to incite fear into someone to get them to buy into you.
Yeah. Well, that's the entire RNC. If you watch that convention, I couldn't make it through all of it, but majority of the actual Republican National Convention was literally them telling you they want to MS-13's coming, Black Lives Matter's coming, the rioters and looters, they're coming. It was literally the entire Republican National Convention.
But how have you lived your lives, right? There's nothing that... They're not coming for you. They haven't come for you yet. You know what I mean?
Well,
what does Donald Trump
It's
did
the fear of the unknown that they may one day come for you. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but someday...
I think I'd be more scared than little Billy who might break into your garage and steal your tools than I would be that the MS-13 is going to come all the way from Mexico to come and get you. I mean,
like, because they really
be more afraid of your neighbors, who may be on heroin, than somebody who's in Mexico. If you really want to be fearful of something.
Be fearful of something that's right in your face.
Right in your face. Yeah. Right in your backyard.
So I'm curious, after watching that ad, for those of you guys who decide to watch this, because some of my controversial stuff does fairly decent. It's exposed to newer viewers who I haven't met before, and a lot of people who are following the channel haven't gotten to really know my views about a lot of things, because sometimes we're just not talking about it. We're just talking about other stuff.
Well, a lot of times people are afraid that they're going to lose viewers too.
Well, most of the time, we're not really talking about that. we're talking about something else, so
Yeah.
we can't really talk about too much in one video.
Correct.
So if we're reacting to a certain video, we can't really stop that video and be like, hey, let's talk about racism for a minute.
Correct.
You know, but BTS aside, let's talk about racism because I like that song. But racism today.
This is what's going on in our lives right now, and it's really heavy.
Yeah, and
You know what I mean?
I'm curious to you guys to, what do you guys think? One, what do you guys think when you see that ad? If you're
Yeah.
American, what do you think when you see that ad?
Yeah.
And if you're not American, what do you think when you hear the name Donald Trump and his supporters and people like me who are, I'm anti-Trump, you know. So what do you think of all of that? Try to just give me some type of like concise breakdown of what you think when you hear the name Trump, that ad. How does it make you feel?
Fighting back
if
against
you're
bullies?
foreign, like, what do you think of America right now?
Yeah.
How do you feel? I
That'd
just
be very
actually
interesting.
spoke to a person, and he kind of came at me aggressively because he broke it down to me. He said he apologized after we had a little back and forth. He said, I have a thing against developed nations. He's like, because he doesn't live in a developed nation. He's like, I don't like y'all. And I haven't really got to talk to him too much about it, but his viewpoint was really interesting because I was talking to him. I tried to break it down to him like, hey man, things ain't all that good in developed nations. Our developed nation, we damn near on the brink of civil war. And he like, well, Libya's in a civil war right now. So, you know, you can't really hit me in the heartstring with something like that.
That's deep.
And so I was like, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. So I apologize to him. He apologized to me.
Yeah.
But that made me really curious to know what you guys think.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Hear
Yes.
the name Trump when you think about America right now, compare and contrast it to America 10 years ago. Give me your thoughts about this entire topic.
Yeah.
You know, in breakdown. So I'm just really curious to know what you guys think.
Yeah.
Sorry if this video went on a little long.
And then let me know, what do you guys think about bullies? When do you think that you should stand up to a bully? When do you think a country should stand up against a dictator, or you know what I mean? Like, when do you feel like your kids should be able to stand up to a bully in schools?
Right.
Even?
So there's a lot, you know, just take
Yeah.
what you want and respond to the things that really resonated the most with you in this
Yeah.
video, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So appreciate you guys coming out. Hope you had a good time, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.